Hi everyone, Diana here with your weekly message for January 28th to February the 3rd. Daisy says hi. She heard one of the kitties crying, and so Daisy decided that she needed to go take care of the kitties. They're all good friends, and so she's not with me in the office today. The truth be known, however, I think it's because Daisy and I had a talk about a trip to the groomers. It's time. She needs a bath, and she needs to have her coat groomed and loved. And once she's there, she does okay. But it's like going to the vet. Oh, let's not go there. Let's go out for a walk or go play. So anyway, Daisy's not here. But if you would like to see Daisy, she has a couple of her own videos, and the latest one is she's just out in the meadow playing, and then she comes running, and you get to see her beautiful face. So I think it's called Daisy Says Hi. So just go watch that if you would. Thank you. Well, let's talk about this week. You know, I think our breath of being able to just sit back and, okay, things are going to calm down for a few days. Those will be past now. We're going to be back in the, I can't believe this is happening. Is this really what we want in our world? And oh my, really? Well, yeah, I think we're going to see things are starting to come out this week. It's not the beginning and it's not the middle. We're still in the early stages, but it's like there are many explosions this week. There's an explosion here and an explosion there, and he didn't really say that, and oh my gosh, what are they thinking, etc., etc., etc. So expect surprises that aren't really surprises, and yet they are surprises, because we can't grasp, our hearts can't grasp a lot of what's happening in our world. And I think there are some things that we do need to be very aware of. Oxfam, for example, they just came out and they said that $4 out of $5 in 2017, this past year, $4 out of $5 went to the top 1% in the world. That's pretty scary when you think that the top 1% is about this big compared to the rest of the world. Apple News came out and they said lobbyists in Washington, D.C. increased their income. I think the lowest was like 17%. The highest was 35%. And those were agencies that were Republican and were supportive of the current administration. Increased their fees, or not their fees, their revenue, increased the revenue. But even those who were not in that 35%, I think the lowest increase in lobbying revenues this year in the DC area was 17%, according to Apple News. This is an alarming trend. And the reason it's alarming, it's because we're not looking at history. History keeps repeating itself. And if we look throughout history, when there's a great disparaging, there's this great divide between the haves and the have-nots, eventually the have-nots rebel against the haves. And for the haves to not understand that historical pattern is destructive to all people, the haves as well as the have-nots. Most of us, certainly in those of you listening to me, you probably have the basic needs. We have shelter, we have food, we have clothing. But there are so many in the world who do not. And we need to be aware of that. We need to pay attention to that. How do we change that? A couple of ways. The first way is through acts of love. And an act of love might be simply making a donation of time. It might be making a donation of dollars. The other way is to change our own perception, our own lives. you've heard me say it before. Yes, we must be active, but we must be active through love, not through anger. Recently at the Sacred Path, we held our first meeting last Sunday, and it went, I couldn't have asked for a better group and a better meeting. So I was very, very pleased with everyone who's part of the group this year. But one of the women came up to me at one of our breaks, and she said that she was at the Women's March last year, and she said that she's been involved in other organizations, and she said, there's such anger. I don't know how to deal with that. And I explained to her that I understand exactly what she's saying, because I too have experienced that when I get involved in groups that are here to do the better good, that are here to create more humanity among us, are here to help us to hold our politicians accountable for their actions, and to gear them toward kindness to the planet and kindness to each other. However, too many of these organizations are just caught in the anger themselves. And too many of the marches are caught in the anger themselves. Now, I'm not saying stop marching. I think they're very well needed. We must speak up. We must have our voice. And thank goodness there are those who are doing that. However, the new leadership, the leadership that I propose, isn't about shouting. It isn't about anger. It's about using our hearts as well as our minds. What do our hearts say? How do we look at the bigger picture? Our hearts allow us to do that. When we look at things from a spiritual perspective, we are able to see the bigger picture. Now, that doesn't mean we don't hold the politicians accountable. We certainly do. But what you'll notice as one politician is saying, let's squish this, another politician from another country is coming out and saying, we will help. We will help. So America, I believe, is losing, and as an American, this is sad, but I think it needs to happen. America, with today's policies, other countries are stepping up and taking the front seat to help the world. Because America is not doing that. We're not helping our own citizens. So we're not able to help the world right now. So I want to say thank you to those world leaders who are stepping up and making those promises, those acts, those decisions that are out of love, that are out of, we're going to help the world. It hurts my heart to see this, to see America not being the great country it is. But what I do see in America and in all over the world, and this is what I think love is the individual, you and me, helping others. We can't not rely upon our politicians to be good people. We cannot rely upon our governments to do the right thing, because they're proving over and over that they can't, that they won't, that they don't. And so it is up to us as individuals to reach out to each other. It is up to us as individuals to help. Is our world falling apart? Our world is changing. And change isn't necessarily bad. And before we have change, you've heard me say it, we do have the chaos. What we do want to do is make those changes that are healthy to the planet and to each other. So I challenge you this week, as I've challenged you before. Reach out to others in love. Seek to find the bigger picture, the spiritual perspective. One little shift in perspective can it could change the whole world. One shift in perspective, one shift in a thought changes our personal world. And when our personal world changes, the greater world makes its changes. So I think this week we're going to see divisiveness in the U.S. certainly. We're going to see more and more coming out. And we're going to see ugly divisiveness. That is going to affect the world. The world is stepping up, however, in new ways. And that's good for all of us. We're going to see more of that this week. Let's see what Philip has to say. Now, Philip is my spirit guide. For those of you who come back, know that this is an oracle book. And oh, I must stop for a minute. I must say thank you. Thank you to those who subscribed. You helped me get over that 1,000 mark. And hopefully we have enough minutes that I know the ads are a pain, but thank you for watching them. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for subscribing. The ads do give me a little money. Not a lot, but they help out a little bit here and there. And, you know, I want to come back and I want to say something about the division between the 1% and the rest of the world. I have seen my income in the last 30 years go down, even though I feel like I'm working just as hard, if not harder. But I have seen a major decrease in my income. And I'm not the only one. So we are feeling that division. Not everyone is feeling it. The more who do feel that division, the greater the division becomes, but the greater chance of doing something about it. Let's hope the 1% makes some changes before there's a revolution. Back to Philip. And for those of you who are new to my channel or have just subscribed, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. Now, this is an oracle book, and every page has a different wisdom on it. So we just flip through, and we have to think left or right because each page, left page or right page. And so we just flip through. And when I hear stop, that's when we stop. And so think left page or right page, and we'll flip through. Ready? All right, here we go. Ah, well, that's interesting. We had some maybes, and then we kept going. So what I'm hearing the right. So I'm going to read the right. And I think the left is kind of important too, but the right is our message. Your problems have not been cast upon you. They have been chosen by you. Your problems have not been cast upon you. They have been chosen by you. And that's not, I want to take that to the next level, because what I want you to know about the problems that we bring into our lives is we have chosen them, and we've chosen them so we can learn from them. And then, you know, then we have the energy of that issue. And I can say things to my clients. I can talk to my clients about heartbreak, and they recognize I've had my heart broken, so I have the energy of what that feels like. And so the clients can feel that, and so they can trust what I have to say about heartbreak. It is true of whatever that issue is. If it's an illness, we have that illness, so then we have the energy of what that is like, so others will believe us when we start talking about how to heal an energy. I have no idea what it's like to be a member of the 1%. The problem is the 1% has no idea what it's like to be not part of the 1%. Not all, but for many. So we have to be able to converse. We have to be able to understand one another. So if we look at our problems as being chosen by us in order to help us grow, they don't seem like such problems. They seem like a gift, perhaps. The left side will save us a few problems if we really get this. Love is accepting another as he or she is and not as you may want him or her to be. Love is accepting another as he or she is and not as you may want him or her to be. That'll save a lot of problems if you get that, my friends. So I remind you, your problems have not been cast upon you. They have been chosen by you. As a country, as a world, as an individual, we have to remember that. We're here to heal it. Thank you for stepping into your role as healer, as leader. Thank you for looking at life from the higher perspective. It's not to say put blinders on. That's not to say ignore what is taking place, but live in the awareness of what is taking place, the awareness of why it's taking place, and the awareness of what you are to do about it. Thank you for being with me today, my friends. I'm so grateful you're here, and I'm so grateful for your subscribing to this channel and telling others about it, and for coming back. I love you. I'll see you. Well, I wanted to say next week, but it'll actually be in a few days when we put out the February video. Thank you. I love you. I love you, my friends. Thank you for loving me. And thank you for receiving my love. And Daisy's too. Bye for now.